Hey, what's poppin' everybody? My name is JimmyChungus28 and welcome back to yet another gaming video, where today it is episode number 3 of Bedrock Redstone Explained. And in today's video we're going to be talking about normal pistons, sticky pistons, honey blocks, and finally slime blocks. Now if you guys haven't done so already, please hit that big red subscribe button. These videos take so long to write and make. So anyway, let's go ahead and hop into the video by opening our door to the compound right here, and let's go ahead and walk in. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is the difference between sticky pistons and normal pistons. Now we can see there is a visible difference by how they look on their face. Right here we can see that one has a kind of a green substance and the other has nothing on it. Now there is a little bit of terminology that we kind of need to go over real quick, which is this right here. We can see that there is a wood part, and this is called the piston face, and this stone part right here is called this piston base. So if you hear that in this video, or you hear maybe in a tutorial somewhere, then that is usually what they're talking about when they're talking about the face and the base. So anyway, let's go ahead and hop into the next thing, which is normal pistons. Right here we can see will push but not retract their blocks. However, sticky pistons will retract and push their blocks out like this, and no matter what you do, they will never drop their blocks unless pushed by another piston. And I'll go ahead and demonstrate that right here. We can see that if I just do this, then they will lose their block like that. So it is a really interesting feature that, unlike Java Edition, where if you send a 1-tick pulse to a sticky piston, it will drop its block. On Bedrock, it will not. Now there are certain blocks that pistons cannot move no matter what. And here are a few examples. We have obsidian, beacons, I believe, yeah, jukebox, and then we have end portal frames, and then of course bedrock. But these are all really interesting things, and if you remember in the first episode I talked about a third type of block besides transparent and solid, and this is that type. It's called immovable objects. Now again, if you hear those words in this video or in another tutorial or something, this is what they're talking about: a block that cannot be moved by a piston no matter what. And if I just go ahead and demonstrate, we can see I'm pushing all of these, and even if I break this block, we can see that it'll extend, and of course they can't pull them either. So this is a really interesting and actually incredibly useful thing in the game. Now there are certain blocks that are movable, however they will just break when actually pushed by a piston. So we can see a few examples of these are levers, repeaters, comparators, beds, buttons, and interestingly, shulker boxes, which is incredibly useful. Anyway, so if we go ahead and flick this lever, we can see all of these pistons will extend, and all of these things will go down into entity format, which is really, really useful in some circumstances. Now let's go ahead and move on, and let's go ahead and look at where a piston can be powered. Now you can power a piston on any of its sides of its base, so all of the stone parts can't be powered. However, if we take a lever right here and power the face, it doesn't do anything. So this is also true of sticky pistons as well. So you can actually push and pull pistons with sticky pistons like this. You can also use a normal piston just to push, but interestingly, you cannot push or pull a powered piston. So if we just go ahead and demonstrate this, and see if we push this and then power this, we cannot actually retract this, and even though this is a sticky piston, we still cannot retract this piston. So this is some really interesting behavior indeed. So let's go ahead and move on now and talk about honey blocks and slime blocks. Now the interesting thing about honey blocks and slime blocks is they will have blocks stick to them. So we can see, even though this piston right here should only be moving this center block, if we go ahead and power this piston, can see that all of these blocks get moved. Now, just to demonstrate, if I switch out this slime block for a normal block, what we can see is that only that block gets powered. So this is really, really interesting. And also, slime blocks are affected by push limit, which, if I don't remember if I'm actually going to mention this in this video, but I do want to take this kind of second to mention it. A piston can only push a maximum of 12 blocks, so please remember that when using that. And slime blocks are, in fact, affected by push limits, so technically this sticky piston is pushing 5 blocks right now. We can see the same is true of honey blocks right here, so that is really, really interesting. Now on the Bedrock edition of the game, we can see that both honey blocks and slime blocks are solid blocks, so you can send a redstone pulse through them. So this is a really, really useful feature indeed. Now let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that honey blocks and slime blocks cannot stick to. Number one is immovable objects. You cannot move these, even with sticky pistons and, even with slime blocks and honey blocks, you cannot move these whatsoever. Now we have glazed terracotta blocks, which is a really, really interesting one because they can be moved by pistons, as we can see here. If I just go ahead and place that there, we can see that they are moved by pistons, so this is really interesting behavior, as well as the fact that they can be pushed by sticky pistons, but they won't be retracted by sticky pistons, which is a really, really useful behavior of glazed terracotta blocks. These are incredibly useful for things like flying machines. These are incredibly useful. So anyway, folks, that is going to do it for this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed, and hopefully you also learned something. Anyway, if you guys want to see more content like this, then be sure to subscribe. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. Comment down below if you learned anything, and if you guys are enjoying the series so far. Anyway, folks, that is going to do it for me. I really hope that you did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next gaming video. Goodbye, guys.